Good afternoon, Vernon. I hope everyone is doing well. Karen Domino, Superintendent of Schools, here, of course, with Dr. McKay.
Hello, everyone.
Assistant Superintendent. We are going to send you some brief information today, but things that are really important.
Right.
So, last week, from the New Jersey Department of Health, there were some changes to quarantine restrictions. As much as we hate to continue to talk about COVID, it is still something necessary that we have to acknowledge at least through the end of this school year. So the thing that changed is, since we are in yellow, right, the whole state is in yellow, thankfully, when we're in yellow or green status, it means that if you have to be quarantined, it is now a 10-day quarantine instead of a 14-day quarantine. In addition, you can further reduce that to a 7-day quarantine with a negative test result on day 5. I know that's a little complex. But again, all you really need to know is if for some reason you're a close contact, perhaps your child has been exposed at school, now instead of being 14 days, it can be 10 or even 7 with the negative COVID test on day 5. And COVID testing is now a lot more accessible than it used to be.
That's the key
right?
piece.
Doctor's office,
Yes.
CVS, etc.
So the key piece, parents, is the fact that at day 5, you can get that test for your child and have them back in 7.
Right.
And of course, that cuts the time in half. And
Yes.
this is what we really are pushing for. Our students are back. We're seeing a lot of them on the elementary level. And we know that anytime the quarantine starts, if we can keep it to 7 days,
Absolutely.
right, Mr. Vino, we would be
Well, and
better off.
they're missing invaluable instruction time and socialization time, right?
Sure.
I mean, being out of school and having a very inconsistent schedule, the year has been challenging.
Right.
So all that time out of school has been a real challenge for families and for children and for our faculty.
Right.
So shortening that time of quarantine allows for our children to really be engaged in the last 28 days of school. We are really flowing through the year.
Right, and there's 5 weeks left. And the crucial piece, parents, is the fact that even in this 5 weeks, we're settling into a normalcy.
Yes.
The children are starting to get used to schedules again. The teachers are working with the students individually. And I know it's been a struggle for every parent and
Yeah.
every family. But the truth of the matter is, the more the children are back and the more we normalize this at the end of this year, the far better we're going to be in September. And that's our goal. Our goal is to have everyone back in September and come back with a normal sense of what the school year should look like.
Absolutely. And
So-
remember, Dr. McKay said something really important. That structure that we have,
Absolutely.
that's a really fine balance between home and school. So parents set things like manners and, how to be, respectful and things like that at home, and you're talking to your mom or your dad a certain way. And then in school, we reinforce those behaviors, right?
Exactly.
When we've had inconsistency like this, everybody feels a little bit out of sorts, right? So this is starting to normalize all of those regular protocols, as well as things like homework.
Sure.
And everything else.
Sure, and,
Right?
and some of the responsibility then is given to us as we raise children together. And I think that that's
Absolutely.
really important. We've said 100 times, I think public school saves children's lives, but it saves them because they get to be interacting with their peers, but also other adults who bring the same passion towards education as they do at home. So,
Exactly, and we're going to talk about how public schools are going to save lives this summer. So
Yes.
let's talk about summer acceleration programs.
right, so we have a bunch of summer acceleration programs that we want to make you aware of. We are going to have parent meetings this week with individual small group parents, but also we're going to put some things out for everyone in the next couple of weeks. But each one of our schools is putting together programs from a summer academic camp in pre-K and K, all the way through to high school programs to sort of basically make up some of the work that has been missed. But the idea simply is, again, to have our students actively involved for at least a few weeks this summer
Right.
in the process of their own education. So there's going to be programs at Rolling Hills, there's going to be a program at Cedar Mountain, there's going to be a program at Lounsbury, there'll be a program at Glen Meadow, and again, it's a credit retrieval program up at the high school. There'll also be counseling for students as well. Each of the individual administrations are going to
Yeah.
reach out to parents and let them know all about the program, but our hope is to get as many students as possible involved in a sense of summertime learning.
Yeah. And remember, what Dr. McKay said is really important about creating those connections, right?
Yes.
So even those few weeks in the summertime will create more normalizing, right? We're
Right.
starting to bring our school community back together.
Yes.
Because the school community only works when every stakeholder is really integrally involved. So our faculty this summer, along with our students and our parents, right? Trying to get our children back into a normal sense of schooling.
Getting to know teachers in a different venue, getting
Yes.
to know the parents, having the connections, you dropping your child off, we're saying hi, we get to know you.
Right.
All of those pieces that have been missing for so long can be formed even in a couple of weeks this summer. So the idea simply is that way, the transition at the end of August and into September is a smooth one. And
Yeah.
that's our whole goal. Our whole goal is to catch up a little bit, accelerate a little bit, communicate a little bit, worry about the mental health and social and emotional
Yes.
learning for our children, and get everybody back to a sense of normalcy.
And the last thing I would say about the summer programs, folks, is that each school's program is custom tailored to the needs of those children.
Absolutely.
So it's really important this year to differentiate and make sure that we're providing what our youngest learners need and what our oldest learners need and everything in between. Because if you're the parent of a high school child or a child at the Rolling Hills School, you know that those needs are very, very different. So it's our job, the job of our fine educators, to make sure that we are customizing those programs to meet the needs of our children.
And this is all grant funded. This is from the federal government. This one's from the December 27th signing by President Trump. It's called ESSER2.
Yep.
And of course, what it is all about putting money towards this. And then in next year, there'll be other programs that we'll be putting money towards. But it's all grant funded, and we want everyone to take advantage of
Right.
it. So it's an
And-
important piece. Yeah.
And then we have the last week in June.
It's big.
I can't believe we're talking about it. We've got a ways to go yet, folks, but some
Mm-hmm.
important things happening. As you know, the last week in June, or maybe they don't know, we have 5 half days. The entire week is half days. We want to make sure that you have enough time to be prepared for that. It's been a tradition in the Vernon Township School District that we've had half days for many years. That will continue this year. Part of the reason is that week there are 3 events on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's
This
a
is
very,
major,
very
folks.
busy
This
week.
is really big. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, of course, on Friday night will be our high school graduation
Absolutely.
on June the 18th. We are hoping the weather holds out, and perhaps with the capacities and things that are happening with COVID, perhaps we can look at one graduation.
One whole graduation, yes.
That'll be up to Dr. Anderson and the folks at the high school. The night prior to that, June 17th, is our 8th grade advancement.
Of course.
Right? And then on June 15th, on Tuesday, June 15th, we're having a Capstone celebration. That's new this year. And we are really looking at a Capstone event to celebrate all the things we missed in the last year and a half.
Now, folks, this is Miss Davino's idea, and it's a great one. But it is a monumental amount of work because we're going to try to honor everyone for the past 2 years. So we're talking
Teachers
about
of the
Teachers
Year.
of the Year, Hall of Fame, students, retirees,
Essay writers, artists, musicians.
artists,
Yeah.
musicians. I think everyone's going to be there, and the idea simply is a celebration, again, of some new normalcy,
Yeah.
where we can get back together and celebrate all that's right with this community, and all the wonderful people that work in the district,
Yeah.
or the children that go to this district, and all the great things that they've
And what
done.
we collectively has accomplished even during COVID, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's a huge challenge. I think the whole year has been the negativity. Now we're starting to look at what we were able to do during
Right.
COVID. There are things to celebrate.
Oh, there certainly are. The amount of days that we put in school is something that we can all celebrate. This
Absolutely.
district has been
Yeah.
forward with that. But anyway, on the 15th, we'll all be together. And the idea is to celebrate all the good things that
Yes.
our folks have done.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to that, although it's going to be a monumental night.
It is, but it'll be a lot of fun. And then the last thing is, I think later this week, hopefully, Mr. Shea, through the magic of Magic Match Day, who we always appreciate working on our podcast.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have my first superintendent spotlight, and that will be featuring Mike Chang, who's our valedictorian. So
Yeah.
I cannot wait to have the opportunity to sit with him and interview him and talk about some of his wonderful contributions at the high school and his aspirations for the future. He is going to be dynamite. Keep an eye out for that young man.
And there's a big project to take a look at that he's done up at the high school. So
Absolutely.
it'll be something to really to see. So don't miss that either. All right. Have a great day. See you soon.